Hi everybody and welcome to this awesome episode of the Being Politely Rebellious in Pompey video podcast. We are joined today by Pompey's very own born and bred Marlon Pack. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. See the nice tan, fresh in from Dubai.
This is back from holiday and then the normal Portsmouth weather has evaded us. So,
upon you.
We're sitting in here in a nice room when it's raining outside. So, lovely holiday.
Yes, back to England.
Back to the reality,
When does training kick back in?
So we start back officially on the 24th of June. So, we have obviously an extended period off, but we have 2 weeks of complete rest.
Okay.
And then now it's we have a program that we have to abide to make sure that, we come back in fit shapes, because football, as a lot of things have in the world, has changed over the years. A lot of people used to come back out of shape and use kind of pre-season as an opportunity to get fit, but now it's everyone's fit
all year round.
All year round, basically. So
it's funny, isn't it? Because when I'd done the episode with Alan Knight and speaking to other people who are from a different generation of footy, where players used to smoke on the pitch and go out and get absolutely wankered all the time. And it's not like that anymore, right?
I think I'm 34. So when I started coming through, there was elements of that. But then as my career's progressed, it's obviously the professionalism, what's available now for us as athletes, obviously the financial implications of the game. So, and for me, it's always there's always not a fear of missing out, but I feel like if someone else is doing it, I need to be doing it. So you have to make it so competitive.
In the game, you mean, not outside of the game?
No, in the game, So what I'm saying is not
no
that.
fear of missing out on the late nights.
No, I've been good at that. We'll get into that. I was good at that as a kid. I'm from Buckland, so there was a lot of stuff that I gave up to. But no, in regards of making sure that you're fit and you're staying active, because you are, as much as a team game, you are competing against individuals for spaces. So if you're not coming back in tip top shape, or at least in an acceptable shape, then and you're the person that's in your position then they've already got one up on you. So
you're responsible.
You are
for yourself,
because not just yourself, but obviously a lot of family to feed and other people to look after. So as part of that, it comes with
And
it.
how many bubbies you got now?
I've got 3 boys. 10, who's nearly 11, starting senior school next year. A 6-year-old and a 9-month baby.
Wow.
So,
and do you live in Pompey still?
We do, we do. So when I first moved back down, because football's so volatile, the kids, the two and my wife, were living in Bristol still, and I was commuting throughout the week. I was staying at my mum's for a few nights a week, but then off the back of the League One title season and the third baby being due, it was kind of time to come home, settle down. And my wife's from Portsmouth as well, so my oldest was born in Portsmouth. He was born in QA, but the other 2 were born in Bristol. So it's so we've been back in Portsmouth near enough a year now, and
you feel settled?
I do. I generally didn't think I'd actually come back, but then once I come back and signed for the club, it was like, and listen, it has its faults, of course it does. You realise how lucky we are to be by the seafront every day, and just to know everywhere, just to know where to go, where not to go.
Exactly. Where to avoid. What back roads to take or not take.
More importantly for us, it's being together as a family, so that could be anywhere.
We should probably be keeping an eye on your Tesla that's parked up outside on Alloway Avenue, actually, shouldn't we?
I think I used to train down here when I was a kid. Is the community centre down there, or like a hall?
Yeah, they've got Hillside Community Centre down Cheltenham Road.
Is it down Mars?
They've got one down Marsden Road.
I remember as a kid, I think I used to play for I don't know why, but we used to train here sometimes on a Friday.
I think they've got some all right pitches. The under 11 girls team that we sponsor, they do a lot of training around here. And then obviously you've got King George's playing field. We're looking out at the window, by the way, everyone, because we've got a view of Pompey. So if you see us looking that way, that's why, because we're looking at what we're talking about. But so you said your eldest son was born at QA. So are you in the generation? I'm 37, so I was born at St Mary's. So you're St Mary's boy,
Yeah, so he was QA, I was St Mary's.
Yeah.
My wife was St Mary's.
Yeah. So what was early life like for Marlon? What was that like?
I went to people know, so I was a Buckland boy, grew up, went to flying ball school. Spent the majority of my childhood, from I remember, is obviously at school at flying ball, and then at Buckland Park Place Centre.
Is that and that's across the road?
That's
isn't
across
it?
the road, and that honestly, from my childhood, that was, it was school. It was Buckland Park Place Centre. We call it the Curly Whirly Park behind.
Yeah,
they have a big grass. They have a concrete cage that's still there. I've taken my boy there a few times when we visited my nan, and my mum's mum was Spenlow Close, and my dad's mum was Mallons Road. So literally all in that vicinity.
Whole square
that was my childhood, and I mean, for me it was great. And there's a lot. I think people know Buckland and know those kind of areas. There was some characters that
always.
grew up, but what a great childhood. Be able to roam free. What they do at the Buckland Park Place Centre, we used to do. Used to go to New Forest, do camps, do trips. The activities they'd put on, a proper real community.
And those play centres and the adventure playgrounds are still going strong, aren't they? I mean, they've got, I think it's 6 across the city.
Yeah, my boys have gone there a few times. Yeah, they love it. I mean, we obviously don't live in the Buckland area, so it's all alien. Those kind of communities to them, and when they go there. Tops off, mud everywhere, filthy dirty. They love it. So kids love it, and it's just obviously they're growing up in a bit of a different environment now. But that was it, and it's definitely shaped me to who I am. And,
did you grow up with like both your parents in the same house, siblings?
Growing up, I did. They're separated now, but and a younger sister. So, but like I said, all our family were Buckland based, and it's only until everyone starts getting older they start to kind of roll out to the city a little bit.
What secondary school did you go to?
I went to City of Portsmouth Boys School. So,
did you?
Yeah, I went there actually in the season. I know it's Trafalgar. I went in there in the season and done like an after school speech, a careers days kind of. So, and there was 2 teachers that are still there that were there when I was there. So it was nice to catch up. Oh my God,
that's lovely. I've just been speaking with Lucy, I want to say Lucy Clark. I don't know if the last name Clark, could be getting it wrong. But we're going up there on the 4th of July for one of those types of days to go in. Yeah,
so I went and head of media at the club went as well. So just 2 different types of careers, but also in the same.
My husband went there actually. So he's obviously a few years older than you. You probably don't know him. We're 37, but he went to see Boys and he just loved it. He absolutely loved it. And I always say to him, because he's ginger, and I always say to him, did you get bullied? And he was like, no. He was just like, we all just used to play football all the time. Swears he could have gone pro, is what he says.
That's what they all say. Do you have an injury?
No.
No, I think even when I tell the lads, not so much now, but when growing up in like the youth team and being what school I went to an all boys school. What was that like? Honestly, best time ever.
Yeah, that's what he says.
No distractions. Yeah. No bullshit from the girls, and it was just lads playing football. Yeah, you obviously
because they had really big fields there, didn't they?
Yeah, obviously it's changed now.
UTC's there now,
and it's huge fields, tennis courts. Just I go back to like childhood. It was just an extension of a younger childhood.
Yeah,
a lot of the lads that I grew up with in Buckland went there, so we used to get the bus. From Kingston Road up straight to City Boys. So it was great.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I absolutely love it. How did you because you say obviously growing up in Buckland, and we all know the things that can go down in Buckland. How did you stay away from like distractions?
So I was there.
Yeah.
I just
as a watcher.
It generally was like, and it was just something that. In all fairness, my mum and dad were pretty strict with me.
Were they?
Not, my mates wouldn't have a curfew, and even to quite year 10, year 11, they were quite strict with my curfew. And I was always in earlier than everyone else, but it done me a favour. Always strong will and strong minded that, because there was definitely 1 or 2 cases of lads who were talented footballers or sportsmen, and they just not fall by the wayside. They just what it is as a teenager growing up, and it's not as much as I think it's wrong. It's rife. It's what most teenagers do. it's normal of it being abnormal, if you get me. So yeah, I was literally the stairs of Buckland, Stella Flats, Buckland Green, either in the park. Sometimes we used to go down, sit out just the outsides of St Mary's Church. And I'll just walk with, you know, either some girls or some lads would get a cam 2 and it would be like
winning at life.
So that was
you would get the cam 2 but not the bottles of 2020 or the
not generally, no drinking, nothing, because
you knew what was at risk.
It's what I wanted, and it's sacrifice. It's barely a sacrifice. But
it is. I mean, it is to a certain degree.
No, because in all fairness, then towards the later years, maybe more the year 11s, when I knew that I started to not go out less, but definitely a lot more restricted, because I just wanted to be a footballer.
Yeah, and it's understanding that it's that crucial time then, isn't it? You're going to go that way or that way, and you've just got to stay really focused.
And once we were... once we used to play on a Sunday, and once it was post-school, year 11, 16, we were then in the youth team doing our apprenticeship at Portsmouth. It was games on a Saturday. And then by then, in all fairness, because I was in a team at Portsmouth, then they become your close mates a little bit more, even though I've always stayed in contact with a core group of friends, especially from senior school. But always because I would spend day in, day out with those lads from Portsmouth. And also
it's like when you start college or you start a job or whatever,
and these are also, like I said, without no disrespect, these were all like-minded people, and we're always pushing towards the same goal. But one thing I will say is my mates from Portsmouth and, you know, the Buckland lads and one of the senior school never pushed me into anything. Never tried to.
They had that respect.
Never made me try anything. There's never any peer pressure, because
that's amazing. And I think that's a really important thing to note, actually, that, you know, because a lot of excuses are used around, like, oh, it's my environment, it's how I grew up, it's the people I hang around with, whereas ultimately, actually, and this is something we really push to the next generation, is that you are in control, though, and you can be the one that's politely rebellious, that goes, I'm going to go home now.
I think I'm quite a mild-mannered person and quite temperamental, but I am quite cynical with stuff like that, and I hate excuses. I just feel like you're in control of stuff yourself. You can, and don't get me wrong, there's going to be some really extreme circumstances.
Of course.
But I do feel like people are in control of their destiny, and we all go through mishaps, and we all go through a series of unfortunate events. But I think you can shape your future. You might not get to where you want to go, but you might get to somewhere. And I mean, it's easy for me to say, but
it is, because you've been there, done it on the t-shirt, right?
I also feel like you talk about skill and stuff like that. Skill is turning up, working hard, and it's not about being technical and everything. It's a skill is saying no. So it's I can be quite cynical of that in that sense, and I hate people that feel sorry for themselves.
Same. Totally get that. I mean, I'm a Pompey girl. Through and through. Spent most of my teenage years knocking around Buckland, which is why when you were saying certain places and things, that's why I was giggling, because I'm getting flashbacks myself. And it's, you know, life is what you make of it, right?
And don't get me wrong, there is, I know a lot of people that have gone through a lot of stuff, and it's hard, and it is, and I don't want to come across too cynical, but there's a lot of people in the same boat in Portsmouth, and my friends that have done all that stuff and done it in a controlled manner, but they've now, you know, they've got really good businesses, you know, roofing firms, plumbing firms, been really successful in their own right, and it's really pleasing to see.
Seeing everyone level up, which is amazing. So where did football start for you? So how old were you when you started playing? Who got you into it?
So from what I can remember, I was always at the early stages of Portsmouth on their books, but there was never, the club wasn't the club it is now. And but I started at, I remember doing training when I was about 5 or 6, and I just remember doing it at Alexander Park. And then signed for, I think they were Fratton Colts, they're not a team. And then it was Copton North End was my first team. So basically the two managers were Steve Wall and Brian Yates. One lived in North End, one lived in Copner. They created a team called Copner North End. Actually, it was Landport 72 before that.
Oh wow!
And they took Copner North End, but I always played a year above.
Okay.
So I played
because you were good.
Yeah, I think. Well, but yeah, and they were like my dad's mates as well. Okay. So it was like, and all their kids were a year above. So I always played a year above. So that would have been the school year of 1989.
Okay.
I'm the school year 1991. I'm 91. So yeah, I always played a year above, and yeah, really good team. Won a lot around the area, and then because they were a year above, once they got to like a leveler side, I had to then drop down to my own age group.
Okay.
And then, so
was that hard for you?
No, because they also knew a lot of those lads because I played like schoolboys, and obviously they're all my year. Okay. I knew that, so then I signed for Waterlooville, and then that Waterlooville, I think it went from 7-a-side back then to 11-a-side. We then went to Moneyfield. So, but over that period, I was always with Portsmouth, and it was only until I think year 7, which was year 7. So I've been around 11, where Portsmouth then fulfilled a fixture. Yeah. So then I stopped playing like grassroots football, and then every weekend I played for Portsmouth.
Do you remember there ever being a moment where, you know, like that kind of light bulb moment where you realised this is what you wanted to do for the rest of your life?
Not in particular. I think more towards the end of school, when obviously you're doing GCSEs, and I made sure I still did really well in that sense. But also, I just remember a teacher saying to my parents one time, "I'll make sure, you know, it's going to be tough for Marlon to make it. Make sure he concentrates on his schoolwork." So then my school diary was just me practicing my autograph or signature. But what's fueled
manifesting.
Well, I think it's a part of it, right?
Yeah, of course it is. Absolutely. See it, believe it, all that jazz.
So I think what's fueled me the whole time is that even now at 34, I just love the game. I love football. So even as a kid, I think it's changed a little bit now. Don't get me wrong. I think because of the treasures and what's at stake, I think people do get blindsided by that now. But I think for me, it was just the love of the game, being a footballer, loved after school going to play football. Like I said, Buckland Green, bikes down backwards, using a lamppost, using a cone, like World Cup doubles. It was
your jumpers as goalposts.
Yeah, it was all at a trolley sometimes that would be left there. It was that. It was never. So it was just, and obviously I'm going along really old, but life was a lot simpler back then. And I think we just played football, and that was my drive. I loved the game. Was always passionate about it, and like I said, it's only until probably towards the end of school, whereas obviously for them, when you're the under 16s at that age group, when you're in year 11, you then get, at the end of that year, you get then offered a scholarship. Okay. So if you don't get offered that, obviously then for me, I could have gone elsewhere and tried to search for that scholarship at another football club, but then you're either doing that or you're going into college. So that was probably that. And then once you're in that building, even though you're an apprentice and you're learning your trade as anyone else would be, that's when you're in and around the first team. And during that time, the club were in the Premier League, so you're in and around Harry Redknapp, Sol Campbell, all those first team players, and you realise what it takes to be a professional, and you get a taste of it.
Wowza.
Being bottom of the food chain, but you still get a taste of it. So it's probably only really then that was like, well, this is a real opportunity. Knuckle down. So
that's amazing. How does it feel being back in Pompey and like being part of the team? And obviously you're the captain, right? So that must come with a completely different set of pressures and feeling of responsibility. Yeah,
I mean, I remember meeting with the old manager before I was signing. So I left Cardiff and I met with a few clubs, and then always throughout my career it was like Portsmouth in my back, in the back of my head, that it was unfinished business, and I didn't really get an opportunity here, but the club were in a completely different space, and the best thing for me in the end was to leave Portsmouth, because I ended up finding myself, making a career for myself, growing up as an adult, and and by the time Portsmouth come back into me, I was 32 and played so many games, so I was a completely different person. but also, so yeah, there was unfinished business and what, the what if, but then there's also the reality. Sometimes a part of me be like, can you ruin your reputation by going back there? The reality of going back to Portsmouth might seem better than what it actually is, or sorry, like the dream, the fantasy, than the reality. So there was that, but it was just eating away at me. There was, like I said, there's a few clubs interested, but at the time it was like, if I don't go back now, there may never be an opportunity. So it came back, and the first season wasn't particularly great, but then obviously the second season when I was made club captain, and then we won the league for promotion. Like that was the reason I came back. Like generally, with a mission, and to help the club get to higher heights, and not just for what it looks like on the pitch in the division, but also, the environment, the culture, and everything. So there was that, and honestly, people can see it as a burden a little bit coming back as a local boy being a captain, but for me, I just relish it. Burden
because of the pressure? Because
potentially,
the stakes are higher,
I know so many people, and I mean, people that would go to the games that I knew as a kid will still be going now. Yeah, but no, I just relish it. Like honestly, I've said it before so many times, and it's not. I am living the majority of people's dreams.
I mean, even getting him up here to the space, it was took a bit of time. There were 3 photo stops, people approaching you. I'm just like, it must become normal though, right?
Yeah, it does. And like I said, for me, it's like actually relishing the opportunity because this will be the highlight of my career of coming back to ball. And it still would have been anyway if we didn't have the successful season as we did. Yeah. But to captain the side and then to win a trophy, epic, win a division, it's
nothing short of epic.
No, and it still doesn't really like sink in right now. I think it's only when you retire and then over the years you look back, because there's loads of players I know have had a long career and played a lot of games and never been lucky enough to win anything. So to win it with your hometown club, I've been a season ticket holder. I've my family are Portsmouth born and bred, support the club. It's
a big deal.
I wasn't just born in the city. I followed the club up and down the country and supported them. So and then everything else, it's like I still go to Buckland, I still go to the same places. I'm always a Pompey boy, and that won't change. And
you can kind of balance the two sides of life, because you've got the life you live now, the life you used to live, and then it's kind of amalgamating them in a way where you're not forgetting where your roots.
Yeah, kind of thing, My boys are getting tired of it now. So every time we go into Buckland, look, this is what Daddy used to live in. And then every time we drive past my school, City boys, Daddy, Dad, we know. So
you can stop now.
Yeah, so it's but I really love it. Like I said to you just off air, like you don't realise until you actually live in the city how fortunate we are. And I think it does have its faults, of course it does, but and the people, like sometimes everyone knows each other's business, which is
Pompey's very small,
which is Pompey very small, but then also just that community feel where everyone, majority of the time, everyone kind of plying together and sticking together and pulling in the right direction.
And there is that, I don't even think it's 6 degrees of separation in Pompey, is it? No, it's not. It's really not.
You know what you just said. Someone that knows me. I know someone that knows someone that knows. So it's a very small world.
But you can use it for positive, right? Yeah, for positive.
And I've tried to relay that back to the group of players, and I think we've done that as a team. We try to make the team relatable and give the fans a team to be proud of, and how would they play if they were in our shoes. So it's trying to like I said, and I think the connection now what we got with the fan base is really good, and it's really strong, and I think
it's that connection, isn't it? I think that there's a really strong connection, and I think that there was a moment where that was lost. I think we had the big high of, was it the FA Cup stuff? And there was just such a huge high for the city, and then we had the huge low of pretty much almost losing the club. And I feel like at this moment in time, there's just this beautiful connection between community and.
But the football club is the heartbeat of the city. It is, and you feel it when the weekend when it's good and you won a game and you feel it. So And listen, there's times where, you go into see, what happened yesterday? It's like, yeah, we lost. It's football, you know what I mean? But
it's
then
the nature of the beast.
The positives and the highs definitely outweigh all the kind of negatives.
So you've said a few times now, you've mentioned it, not me, that you're 34.
Yeah.
What does the future look like? Like, have you got a
it's only because everyone else
plan of
reminds
action?
Yeah, so
obviously a role model for Politely Rebellious next gen.
I think you're a long time retired, so I feel I have so much left to give.
Yeah.
I'm fit,
What's
I'm
the
healthy.
average kind of?
It depends.
Okay.
It will all depend, and it depends on logistics, family life, financials, whatever your ambitions are. But I feel really fit. I feel really strong. I spoke about. I think players now look after themselves, and so players definitely
longevity
can last longer. But there's also a stigma in football about an age because of more from a return of investment standpoint.
Okay. Of getting signed kind of thing.
It's getting signed, and then also wages. If you're giving someone at 24, 25 a wage, and then after 2 years you might be able to sell them on, and you might be able to get some money back. Whereas if you're getting, however, I've tried and still offer enough value on the pitch, but there's a lot of value to offer off the pitch and be impactful, especially as a captain. And there's a lot of organising going on. There's a lot of younger lads that not keeping in check, but you kind of, like I said, you're trying to create and mould a culture and an environment. So I think for us as a football club, with like the management team that we have, the external staff, and then kind of led down to kind of like a leadership group, a senior group, where we're kind of, whether that's with our terminology, our words, we're creating something that can have a bit of a legacy. So
so almost being like really strategic about it,
Yeah, and then I've done majority of my coaching badges. So that's definitely.
And aren't you coaching your eldest son's
Yeah, I've
team?
been roped into that.
Yeah. Which team is that?
They're Moneyfields, under 11s will be 12. So
is that the one that Frank Easton Clark plays on? Then that's how you know Tory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So
he's I love watching Frank Easton Clark. Go on, Frank Easton. I love watching him play. He's fearless, isn't he?
They are. And do you know what? Actually, going back a little bit to what I've enjoyed moving back down is that where we lived in Bristol area, the boys were a little bit more timid and I wouldn't say polite. The boys are polite there that I coach, but a little bit more timid, soft.
Yeah.
And now we moved back to Portsmouth. I feel like my oldest has had to grow up a little bit, and he's a little bit more. I've definitely seen his character grow. Yeah. And then, like you said, with the Moneyfields lads, they bring it up, and then they're tenacious. They're a really good football team. We just won the Portsmouth Cup a couple of weeks ago.
Amazing.
And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy that. But for coaching, obviously, I'd like to coach at a high level. And genuinely, I would love it to be at a football club in some capacity, because I am an example for these young kids. I've lived it.
How to do it? Yeah, exactly.
And I think there's so many kind of like golden nuggets that I've had, and I need to get better as a coach. I need to learn, but I'm still kind of my focus at the minute is maximising my football career, because I think I'll regret it if I don't, because I don't think, as much as there is a buzz from coaching, and like I said, until I'm actually in it, I won't know. I don't know if that will ever replicate what you get in the dressing room on a football pitch.
Yeah, it's a different level of just a different buzz, isn't it?
And I have a milestone of what I want to get to in games. I'm not far away from that. So I just think generally, same as anything, you take every day as it is.
Yeah.
For me, there's an opportunity to improve every day, and as a footballer, when the time comes to look at other things, then I think you should know. And I've always been throughout my career honest with myself. Whether I've had a good game, I've had a bad game, and I think the same will come where, or maybe actually it's time. So, but a few more years yet.
Good to hear. And you've obviously been with Mrs. Pack for a long time now. She's a Pompey girl as well, right?
She is, yeah.
3 babies in.
3 babies.
Yeah. Any more?
No.
Keep going until you get the girl?
No, I think, I actually met her in Lanyards.
Did you?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
When I was 20. So, met in Lanyards.
Down North End?
Down North End,
the one that used to be a church?
Yeah.
Brilliant place.
Saturday night, I think. Yeah. And then went down Guildhall. I was still at Portsmouth at the time, but I was on loan to Cheltenham. So I mean, not going into the story of that how we met, but we met, spoke on the night out, become Facebook friends, and then over a summer, a few dates, and then so that would have been 14 years ago.
Oh, wowza.
Yeah, married, 3 kids. She's great, honestly.
Living the dream.
She is, for me to be able to do what I do, and she works 10 times harder than I do.
Yeah.
Like the support system that she gives me,
the children,
all the stuff she does with the boys, and it's and she's not high maintenance. She's worked her whole life in regards of like when I met her, she was working since she was 15, and obviously it's changed a little bit due to kids. But she's
a queen. She's a real one.
She is, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without her, and she definitely gives us the platform. And she's the she's the real rock of our family, and
it's amazing.
Yeah, she deserves.
And it's all of that, isn't it? It's all of that. When you were saying, this image and the stability of like you and your teammates and the vibe that they get. It's all of that, isn't it? That intertwines.
Yeah, and I think people see stuff on like social media and that, and will have a perception of girlfriends and wives of partners and footballers, but honestly, like I said, we're away for the weekends. We're very selfish people because we have to be, and sometimes I've definitely, since I've had kids, I'm so much better. Like when we were together, when we were younger with no kids, weekend plans would get cancelled if we lost the game. But they just pick up where you go. I mean, I've been fortunate enough, I haven't moved everywhere, but I know a lot of players that have one season at a club, picked up, moved, kids moving new schools, etc.
all over again.
I know it's, and of course, I think we're well compensated, and everyone knows that, and I know there's a stigma of that, but that doesn't mean anything if you're not there as a family.
Yeah, time is the most precious thing, isn't it? And even when it comes to like meals and food, and like drinking alcohol, not drink, like there's so much more that goes into behind the scenes.
They live it as much as we do, and if anything, they live it as worse, because a lot of, and it depends on it. If you have kids early, and unfortunately their career will get derailed to help us pursue ours, and I think I speak a lot of lads I know, we're very fortunate enough to have those kind of support systems in place.
No, that's amazing. What would you say if you were going to give like one bit of advice to the next generation? What would that be?
I think turning up first and foremost, turning up, whatever that looks like. There's being present and turning up, so you can. You don't want to do something, but you turn up. You don't want to go to the gym.
Yeah.
You don't have to go there for an hour. Turn up, do 10 minutes. I think every day is a gradual. Every day, if you can improve by 1%, and that gradually, really small steps, and also it's really basic. And honestly, never give up, because there will be opportunities, and the roadmap might change a little bit, but the destination may not. So you might have an ambition. For example, you might have an ambition to be a professional footballer. Yeah. Unfortunately, that percentage is really, really small. However, there will be opportunities now to become a sports therapist, to be a physio, to be an analyst, to be a coach. There's so many avenues. If you have a passion, there's so many avenues to go down. Yeah. And
it's the same with anything, isn't it? Like my son, he loves music. Yeah. And he hasn't yet decided if he wants to be, say, a front man. Yeah. And he's same age as your boy and Frankie. But it's getting him to understand that there's so many other avenues in music, behind the scenes, in the studio, and you don't necessarily have to be that star player, footballer, but there's other stuff you can be doing.
Yeah, so and I think, like I said, the recipe will never change. Yeah. The recipe will never change. It's all about hard work, determination. There's no secret out there.
Just turn up.
It is, just turn up, give your all. And then obviously lastly, I know it's hard, and sometimes when you're caught in the mundane of maybe the 9 to 5, but it's something you find a passion for, something, enjoy it. I think especially nowadays, I've definitely seen, I think we all have, whether post-COVID, whatever it is, we've definitely seen a turn in people's, I think, outlet. I think a lot of people now are giving up on safe jobs and going out there and pushing their dreams and their realities. And I think now, especially with the younger generation, they're a lot more fearless. Yeah.
And there's more flexibility, isn't there, with the internet and social media.
Yeah, and I definitely enjoy that side of where, you know, society and the world's going is heading, because people are taking a lot more risks to be happy. And that doesn't always mean, you know, a bigger financial gain, but what that might do is actually you might have more spare time, and that could be, like I said, financially might be the same, might be a little bit worse off, but actually you're freeing up more time to enjoy yourself and do more things.
Yeah, so, precisely. And I think it is that thing of and we try to home in on this so often in everything that we do at Next Gen, but that just turning up and staying focused is the important part, like you said, because I think beauty of internet and social media and stuff is amazing, but I think a lot of the time what the next generation don't see is that middle part. They see where you started, where you've got to, and they completely miss the part where you've grafted and you've turned up and you've put in the hours, and you've got to do that.
I always look at it, obviously, because I've been in it, as from a footballing perspective, and I also think like the skills and are so transferable and relatable, because there will be times where, you know, players are in training, working really hard, especially this season. We'll have lads working really hard, training really well, but they're not getting an opportunity. All it takes is maybe an injury, a suspension, you know, someone being ill, and all of a sudden you're then in. But if you have not applied yourself correctly then
during that time,
well, the manager's not going to pick you, and then you're going to miss your opportunity, and then that opportunity you have, all of a sudden you might be in for the next. So, and that's kind of like the message we try and relay to the group, is it? And I know for us, we're a team, so it's a team game, but be ready, be available. Listen, we all have bad days, and that's fine, but it's more for us, like we'll have bad days, whether that's like kind of technically and a performance, but and sometimes we'll have a bad day emotionally, but we can control our attitudes and behaviours. So as long as you're working hard, you're reacting well.
We're all allowed our moments, but it's how you
can control that. Like you can't control, like it's in our sport where it's a skill, you can't always control how you perform, like I said, on a technical basis, but you can control your application. And that's a given, that's for free. Like there's no excuses why I should work harder than you, because we're on a level playing field from that sense.
Have you ever got involved in like yoga or meditation or anything like that? Because I know that that's been a newer thing for footballers.
So I used to do a lot of hot yoga. We've just got some like reforming reformer machines at the training ground.
Is that like the Pilates?
Yeah, the Pilates stuff. So yeah, I think that prolongs your career a little bit longer. So I'm definitely going to get into that. No, I'm quite a sucker for a gadget. So I'll have like my recovery leggings and my like blood pressure machines. Tell you what, probably over the last year or so, which and I know a lot of stuff out there can become a little bit gimmicky. But I definitely enjoy an ice bath sauna contrast.
Okay, cool.
So a local company, I'll shout them because I'm an ambassador, Balance at Waterlooville. We started using them as players, and then now I use it by myself, and some of the lads do. But sauna, ice bath, that hot cold therapy, I definitely have. That is one thing that I've had a feeling from that I go, well, yeah, that works.
Okay, cool.
Whether I haven't got no returns to say yes, this is working. Like
because there isn't another review to compare it to.
Recovery. But I tell you what, how it makes me feel. Whether mentally, and I've brought some of my mates there.
Have you?
That are like property developers, and he's like, oh mate, can we go again? So it's like that, especially first thing in the morning, like
there's just something about your aura, which is why I asked that, because like you've just got this real chill. So I'm looking at Leah, by the way, just she's nodding her head in agreement. Like you've got like this chill. Like my husband's a personal trainer, and he found yoga and meditation probably about 8 years ago now, I would say. He loves Wim Hof and the ice bath stuff and all of that therapeutic things for the mind. And he's got that nature, hasn't he? He's just chill, and like you've just got this real chill aura. So you must like what? I mean, I guess I'm going to ask, like, what is it that you do to keep your mental health, you know, sustained and on a level playing field?
I think, like going back, I've always been, I think, quite strong-headed. You can't get away from it. So we talk about like, especially as my career progresses, social media is so present now. So you're always going to get scrutiny on there. I never take any notice to that. Well, it's like I said to you, I'm going to have bad games. I know it's part of the game. More importantly for me is as if I know myself. So if I have a process where, look, and I'll always watch my games back, go and going on a performance level. If I know when I've done bad, I've made a mistake, I can do better, or I've actually done all right, and I've done a good game. And also my manager will know that, and that's the most important thing. So as long as I hold myself to that high regard, and I'll be honest with myself, so that's the main thing. And like I said, children, they can be a real bane, but they've just made me go, well, what's important? Of course, football is, and it will always be my everything. But what's really important is that, and I don't do anything in particular. I'm quite laid back. I think, you know, my wife's quite laid back. We're easy going. We take it as it is, and I think I just enjoy the kind of family. I've been really good at like kind of separating the two. And that's one thing that if you go into coaching and management, I think it does become hard. But I've been really good at kind of majority of the time, once I'm close to the front door, whatever struggles I'm going for with this, because they don't care if daddy's at the back. My oldest
they
now
just want daddy.
Well, my oldest now is old enough where he banters me a little bit, and he gives it back
gives
to
the
me.
sly digs.
But especially my middle one, and especially not the baby. So and then there's nothing, like I said, same as anything now. Obviously we do a lot of gym, but that's a really good one for me to take off any steam. Like I said, football's great for me football's one where people say that if you have any issues personal like that becomes irrelevant when you're football, but I never have, apart from the odd family drama that everyone in Portsmouth are accustomed to, there's nothing. And then I just try and live a normal family life. I try and read 10 pages of book a day.
Do you?
Just minimum.
Fiction, non-fiction?
It varies. It generally varies. It depends on how I'm feeling. So I've done both. I've gone real non-fiction. Sometimes it becomes really too hardcore, and it's like in your face.
What, like self-help type books?
And there's loads of books there. And like I said, loads of books there.
And they become a bit repetitive as well, actually.
And some books that you read and you go, oh, actually, I can't put it down. And some books that, but then, and then I journaled for a bit as well.
Oh, that's good. Good old gratitude list. That
and then that kind of, I got out the habit of that. 3 kids. So, I just try and do what's right for our family
in that
dynamic
moment,
and what's right for me.
But it's obviously working. So keep it up. Right. So we're going to take it down a notch now, and I'm going to ask you some quick fire questions. But I obviously have to ask you the most important question. What would you say is the most politely rebellious thing you've ever done?
Not sure if I suppose it is. I mean, kind of flaking on plans for my personal gain. So that would be, like I said, you're growing up, being out with friends and then leaving early, not going to family functions.
Because you've got like a game the next day.
Because I've got a game,
training. Or
I don't feel like it because it's recovery and I'm not in the right mindset. So, there's been stuff that I've missed out on because of football, but stuff that deliberately I've missed out on due to
and I guess it's one of those things, isn't it? We like to say you do you, boo. Like whatever's going to get you to where you need to be, or whatever's going to get you in the right headspace and mindset. You've sometimes got to make sure that you're being politely rebellious.
I kind of get, I think we're quite fortunate, especially me and my family. I get more of a hall pass for that stuff because it's an excuse and we can't do it. So I don't think other people.
No one gives you too much flack for it.
I don't think other people are quite as lucky or maybe not quite as brutal.
Don't get away with it so
much. Maybe that,
Right, so some quick fire questions for you. No right or wrong answers. Staycation or vacation?
Vacation.
Yeah. Favourite place?
We did America and Maldives, but I'll say Dubai because we've just come back there and it was our first family of 5. So first holiday as a family of 5.
Right.
So it was a little bit more special, I suppose.
I guess it's one of those places as well where there's something for everyone, no matter the age,
Yeah, I mean, as footballers we go there a lot, but I just spoke to you, we get a real small marginal window to go away, and it's guaranteed weather, good food, really polite people, very welcoming and accommodating, and when you come back here and it's really raining.
Gloomy. Oh, it's depressing today, isn't it? Music or movie?
Probably more on the day-to-day music.
What's your go-to genre?
Oh, I'm a bit of an oldie, so so that's hard because I'm generally changing room changing room DJ.
Right, okay.
But the music that I'd like listen to, like after a game, I like 80s soul.
Okay.
And then I grew up a lot on like UB40, Stevie Wonder, George
UB40.
Benson. So anytime I put like an 80s groove party mix after we won, lads don't know, even like early kind of hip hop, R&B.
Yeah.
So they're all into this music there and now. And
we can't understand what
I don't understand it. So
it's really hard.
Music, it depends. We just actually on Sunday just went and watched John Legend. So
nice.
That was our first. One of his songs was our wedding song. So so we went to see him. So but
Is it that All of Me?
No, it's called So High. It's a bit of a different one. So
I'm gonna have to
listen to that
one. Chicken or lamb?
Chicken.
Yeah. Do you like lamb?
I don't mind it, but it's not.
It's not a go-to.
No, I was a vegetarian for a bit. Yeah.
How long for?
Vegan for a couple of years.
Were you?
Pescatarian and eat fish, and then
I done vegan for 6 months. I lost so much weight, which was great, but it was so hard reading packets.
Yeah.
I think you can be really successful at it as long as you just stick to whole food.
Yeah.
As long as you just stick to like one ingredient stuff.
Pasta every night. So yeah.
Beans or peas?
Beans.
Yes, baked beans. So if you're having like a fry up, you can't have it without the beans.
I mean, I'm really a fry up fan, but yeah, beans, peas, I'm not really a fan. No. Frozen peas, garden peas, not for me. No,
not for you. And Facebook or Instagram?
I've only got Instagram, so yeah, Instagram.
Is that a conscious choice? Have you never had Facebook or?
As a kid, growing up, I did, and then I think I grew out of it.
You're down with the kids, so you got rid
Facebook,
of it.
Yeah.
That's funny because our generation seems to be like more Facebook than Insta, but
I definitely had a Facebook. Yeah, I did have a Facebook page growing up, but I think I can have it now.
A bit old school, isn't it?
Yeah,
a bit old school. Well, thank you so freaking much.
Thank you
for coming in.
I enjoyed it. It was really good.
Really appreciate it. Thanks for telling your story, and good luck when you get back into training.
Thank you.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, I will do. Cheers, guys. Thank you.